my privilege to introduce today's guest speaker, Mr. Amrut Deshmukh, founder of Booklet app, popularly known as Booklet Dad. Mr. Amrut Deshmukh is on a mission to cultivate the habit of reading amongst the youth of India. He reads almost one book a day and has read 1,480 books till now. The average reading speed of most of us is 150 words per minute, but Amrut has increased his reading speed to 1200 words per minute so that he can read more books for India. Today he has more than 18 lakh young enthusiasts who are reading books with him on his free mobile app called Booklet because of some great reading innovations. Booklet Make India Read is a social startup and won the Best Startup Award by the Head Start amongst 100 startup applications. He is also the author of the book The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Reading. Please join your hands to welcome our guest speaker. We look forward to an interesting and valuable session today. So let us begin with the session. Over to you, Amrut sir.
How many of you have read more than 4 books in last 1 month? Not your college books, non-academic books. Very good. The question is for everybody, including teachers. Yeah, Sarika, can you name few of the books that you read?
One was The Silent Patient.
Silent Patient.
Second book that I'm currently reading is The Industry of Happiness.
Okay.
The third book which I'm reading right now, it's on because I read 4 books at a time, 3 to 4 books. One more book which I'm reading is Cleopatra.
Wow. Awesome. Fiction lover in this room. A big hand to Sarika. You have a variety of readers. What about you?
One of the books that I just finished was part of the subconscious mind.
This is not you.
The other one that I'm reading is something called something which I think facts are better than I forget the name.
Factfulness? Factfulness?
No, it's
Okay.
what is the book that
Anybody here? More than 4 books in last 1 month? 3 books? 2 books? Okay, I think I asked the wrong question. Let me slightly change the question. How many WhatsApp jokes did you read in last 1 month? So some are good. You don't have to answer it. Okay, set it down quickly, guys. Set it down quickly. Dude, there are so many empty seats. Grab a seat quickly. Yeah. So the elderly people say that the youth of India is not reading anymore. I don't agree. We are reading. But we are reading the wrong stuff. We are reading those Santa Banta jokes. वो तो अभी out of trend हो गया ना. Memes, Alia Bhatt PJs, jokes on Pappu, non-veg jokes. The boys are giving honest right. I'm Amrut Deshmukh, also known as Booklet Guy. I'm a social entrepreneur. Around 6 years ago, as a chartered accountant, I got into stock market because I was indirectly taught that there is nothing more important than money in life. So I believe that. And stock market में फटाफट पैसा मिलता है. हर्षद मेहता, केतन पारेख, पिक्चर तो अभी आई. I actually started making a lot of money. Small car, getting upgraded into a bigger car, chauffeur-driven car, expensive vacations abroad, lavish life, fat salary. My last drawn salary was 2.5 lakh rupees a month, and that was my side income. My main income was from the stock market. But then there was something horrible going on in my life. I was hardly getting any respect. So as a fund manager, my job was to educate and manage the funds of richest people of India. You know, people like Nirav Modi and Vijay Mallya were my clients. So अभी तो वो फरार है. वो मेरे अभी भी एक दोस्त है. And so whenever I advise the client to buy a certain stock, they come to CNBC, buy Axis Bank, sell ONGC. You see that? So my job was the same. So whenever I advise a client to buy a certain stock and it declined by even 1%, the only words I could hear on my phone were "Teri maafi, dash dash dash, teri behan ki, dash dash dash." I'm sorry if I sound sexist, but मला कळत नाही सगळ्या भाषांमध्ये शिवाय स्त्रीलिंगीच का असतात. And so I realized that I was being paid to hear these words. Those 2.5 lakh rupees a month were not given to me for my caliber, my skills, or my CA degree. I'm a chartered accountant by the way, an outdated chartered accountant. And so I thought I should quit my job. Respect भी चाहिए यार. रात को सोचो क्या याद आता है गालियाँ. So I thought I should start my own startup. I had huge savings, and startup was a craze in those days in India. It is even today. So I started a new startup. It paid. It did not work properly. I said, okay, let me try a second startup. My second startup also failed. I tried a third startup. And guess what happened this time? I failed. Can you switch off the fans, please? Sorry, I think it's not needed. The room is quite cold, right? I don't need fans. So with 3 failed startups on my LinkedIn profile and 1 failed relationship on my Facebook profile, वो भी छोड़ के गई. By the way, my ex-girlfriend was from this college. बहुत चक्कर मारे. अभी रिसर्च मत करना इंटरनेट पे. Maybe 70% of my life savings were wiped out. A deep hole in my pocket, and so I went into chronic depression. I lost self-esteem. A failed guy, not once, not twice, thrice. और वो भी छोड़ के गई. पूरा डिप्रेस हो गया था मैं. And things became so bad that one day I decided that I will not see the next day's rising sun. That should be my last day of my life. And so it was 8 o'clock in the evening. I was all alone at home. I just lived 5 minutes away from your Ramurthy Road near Bedekar Hospital. And I got up from my couch, walked 3 steps to get the things which are necessary to hang myself. So I walked 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, और घर के लाइट चले गए. पूरा अंधेरा. So करे तो क्या करे? So again walk back. I sat on the same couch. अभी पता नहीं ना अंधेरे में रोज तो मरते नहीं हम. It was very difficult to figure out the things which are necessary to hang. So I again sat back on the couch, and I remembered the words of my elder brother. So my brother is way elder to me by 12 years. So more of a fatherly figure and less of a fighter sibling. जैसे भाई बहन में झगड़ा होता है तो कभी हुआ नहीं. वो जो बोलेगा चुपचाप सुनने का. So I was never an avid reader. I used to hate books. In fact, in the 6th standard, I used to believe that Anonymous is the name of a famous poet. तो सब जगह उसका नाम है. कोई ग्रीक नाम है. बहुत बड़ा लेखक है. So that naive reader I was. But all thanks to my elder brother, he used to play a trick on my birthdays. So birthday comes on the first week of July. He used to ask all my friends, call my friends, and dude, if you could just keep away your mobile phones distracting me. Yeah, the video is gone, so don't need to shoot me. He used to call all my friends and warn them, even their parents, nobody will get toys and dresses and board games as birthday gifts for others. If all कुछ gift करना है तो only books. So in short, I never enjoyed my birthdays. Surrounded with books, no toys to play. I got introduced to Harry Potter, Pinali Raman, Akbar Birbal, Alice in Wonderland, Robin Hood, the stories of Rabindranath Tagore, Malgudi Days, Vikram Betar, Shamji Ai, and I fell in love with stories. I would claim that I became an avid reader. As kids, we loved those big font-sized text and pictures and stories and imagination. But I think the turning point came after my 10th exams. My brother again came to me with a serious face. मुझे लगा अभी ये क्या bomb डालेगा. So his hand was behind his back, and he said, "Amrut, you are growing up. You should start reading non-fiction." I said, "What is that?" As an innocent child, I thought books means only stories and fantasy and fiction. He said, No. There are thousands of books out there which may not have stories in them, but you get to learn a lot from these books. और मैं बोला तो 10 साल से क्या कर रहा हूँ स्कूल में, आई एम लर्निंग, व्हाई शुड आई लर्न अगेन? एंड ही सेड नो, these things are not taught in schools and colleges. I said why? That was the shock of my life. मला वाटायचं की formal education is everything. He said no, I don't know. And he gifted me my first self non-fiction book. Do you know what is non-fiction, right? इसमें वो stories नहीं रहते. That book was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And I was so hooked to that book. I finished it in 2 days. And I went mad on my teachers, my parents. जाके झगड़ा किया मैंने सबसे. Nobody told me about financial freedom, financial literacy, which were completely alien to me. And later on, you suddenly say that now you have to be the breadwinner of the home, of the house. And that was a tight slap on my face. I felt that I have missed something big in my formal education. Yes, formal education is important, but it's not complete. Yeah? I used to believe ये अमीर लोग होते हैं ना, ये बिल गेट्स एंड शाहरुख खान, उनका दिमाग अलग रहता है. The brain is wired differently, and that's why they make so much of money. But when the author says, Robert Kiyosaki, that it's just about, it's a science. You just need to know the laws of money and the blueprint. Okay, what is passive income, what is active income. Rich people don't work for money, they make money work for them. Whereas active income is job पे जाओ तो पैसा मिलेगा, एक महीना बीमार रहो तो पैसा नहीं मिलेगा. That's not the case of businesses and investments. And I realized that the more I know, the more I come to know that there is a lot that I don't know. And then came The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, Robin Sharma, Chanakya Niti, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Have you heard about this book? Yes. Anybody?
Yes.
अगर आपने ये बुक नहीं पढ़ी है ना, तो मैं बोलूँगा आपने पाप किया है. It's a must read at least once in your lifetime. Go to any library, आपके कॉलेज की लाइब्रेरी पक्का होगा. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. By the way, I forgot, let's play a small game. So since I'm a voracious reader, I'll keep referring to great books, book names and their authors. So a guy or girl who gives me the maximum number of books that I mentioned during the talk in next 30-35 minutes will get a surprise gift from me. So you have to name the maximum number of books. Author का नाम नहीं बोला चलेगा, only the name of the books. Alright? So it's up to you whether you keep it in your mind or on a piece of paper. It's up to you. अभी सब लोग नोट कर रहे हैं. Yeah, the gift is ready with me. And then there was no looking back. No, I became a voracious reader. In those days, I was reading one book a week. Today, I read one book a day, and would like to update few figures in the introduction. So I've read 1,853 books till now, and not 80 lakhs but 40 lakh people are reading enthusiastically with me. Coming back to the day, it was supposed to be the last day of my life. Of course, मैं तो मरा नहीं, मैं जरूर. So I remembered the words of my elder brother. He used to say, Amrut, whenever you are stuck up with the question, what next? आगे क्या करना है लाइफ में समझ में नहीं आ रहा है ना? Read random. Both the words he emphasized equally. Read random. ज़्यादा दिमाग मत लगाओ. Will it help me? Will I understand it? ये तो बच्चों की किताब है. You know, we so-called highly educated people like to departmentalize everything, categorize everything, label everything. Huh? He is vegan. He is Hindu. He is anti-Modi. We like to label everything. Systematic चाहिए आपको. Random कुछ अच्छा नहीं लगता. Randomness is the opposite of logic. Look at the kids how they play. They use one spare part of the toy in another toy and do some crazy stuff. But as we grow old, we like to look intelligent. No? So everything has to be logical. We used to say read random. There was a book lying on the right side of my couch. I picked it up. I did not even check the cover because he said read random. Not only read random, random page. Switched on the flash light of my mobile because it was dark in the room and started reading. It was Krishna and Balram walking through a forest. Since it was getting dark, Krishna says to Balram that let's not go to sleep together. It's a risky area. Generally, जानवर हो सकते हैं. I'll go to sleep. You keep a guard on us, and then once you get tired, we will switch the roles. Balram says, cool. मतलब cool नहीं बोला होगा. Something में बोला होगा. The book was in English. By the way, Balram is the elder brother of Krishna. So Krishna goes to sleep. Balram is walking to and fro. A monster comes and yells at Balram. Balram gets scared, and this gives confidence to the monster, and monster expands in size, and Balram shrinks in size. The monster yells again. Balram और छोटा छोटा होता है. Monster gets bigger and bigger and bigger. To such a point, Balram is so scared, he screams, Krishna! And faints down on the ground. Krishna mistook that my elder brother has called my name, कि अभी तेरी बारी में सो रहा हूँ. And Krishna starts walking this time. The same monster looks at the new face and uses his same old trick and yells at Krishna. But this time, Krishna calmly says, what do you want? And that gives a big setback to the monster. And this time, you know what happens? The monster shrinks inside and Krishna goes with him. He again gives another attempt, yells at him, और आराम से बोलता है, भाई क्या चाहिए बोल रहा टाइम पास कर रहा है. And वो छोटा 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 होते जाता है वो राक्षस to a tiny goatee size, and he ties him to his dhoti and goes to sleep. The next morning, both the brothers resume the journey. Obviously, Balram recollects his nightmare and says, you know what happened last night? A huge monster had almost killed me. Krishna says, wait. Are you talking about him? Balram says, yes, but how come he's so small? And the epic message goes, you know the stories from Gita Mahabharata, and where Vyas wanted to say that face what you must face. The monster was simply a metaphor of the problems and challenges of our life. If you don't face them, try to escape, try to avoid them, that problem will become bigger than you, and that problem will gain control over you. But if you face what you must face, you become bigger than the problem, and you gain control over it. And these words flashed like Akashvani in that dark room, and that bad, ugly thought of killing myself never came back in my mind. It lasted for 1 full minute. I know how it must have feeling for those who killed themselves, like Sushant Singh Rajput. I had seen death right in front of my eyes for 1 full minute. Thanks to a book that saved my life, and also thanks to Maharashtra Electricity Board. Back in the day, शायद कोई और guest रहता है यहाँ पे. So you see, I realized that if a book can change my mindset within minutes, then I should read more. और मेरा भाई बोलता था कि read random. So again, I just all the books which are gathering dust all these years on my bookshelf, which were half read, unread, I again started reading all of them. वो खत्म हो गया, borrowed from my neighbors, from my friends. And although I was reading random, most of the books turned out to be biographies and autobiographies of great world leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, Swami Vivekananda, Martin Luther King Jr., Shivaji Maharaj, Mother Teresa, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr., and so many. And I realized why I failed in my 3 previous startups. I found the answer, my mistake. Whenever I started a new venture, the first question I asked myself was, what's in it for me? My money, my progress, my wealth, my profits, my bank balance, my happiness, my promotion. It was all selfish, me. After reading these books, these great people, they just don't bother about themselves. Gandhiji said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. And that was a tight slap on my face again. And there was a paradigm shift in my mindset from what's in it for me to what can I give. Suddenly everything changed. Money did not excite me anymore. The dream of having a BMW in my backyard seemed to be very, very childish anymore. And this time I decided that let money come as a byproduct of my passion. I'm not saying that you should not make money, but that should not be the starting point. कि मुझे 1 करोड़ कमाना है तो मैं क्या करूँ? It's the most common mistake most of us do, because parents say take a good job. Indirectly they are saying जिसमें पैसा है ना उस पे जाओ. तो डायरेक्ट बोलने में शर्म आती है ना. But no parent says take a job you love, because if you do what you love, you will automatically become great at it. Why my reading speed has increased to 1200 words per minute? Because I love reading. Why Sachin is the best batsman in the world? Because he loves cricket. But my heart melts out for my friends who go with a miserable face on a Monday morning to office. They don't love what they do. जैसे ऑफिस पहुंचते हो 6 कब बजेगा देखते हैं. Whereas today, when I'm working on my passion, रात के 10 बज जाते तो लगता है अभी जाके सोना पड़ेगा यार. Sleep becomes an obstacle when you work on your passion, because work doesn't remain work, it becomes play. And who doesn't like to play the whole day? I don't have to wait for a Sunday to enjoy. I don't have to wait for a Monday to work. Today is Monday, but I don't know whether I'm working on, because I'm not prepared a single word for today's talk. I'm just sharing my stupid household stories with you, my experience. Mondays and Sundays are all same, they're synonymous. I watched Singh Chadda on Monday morning. And so, I decided I should do something, but I was not sure what I was passionate about. मेरा passion क्या है? Luckily, on the very next day, I got a call from one of my CA friends. We used to study CA together. And he was watching me. You know, depression has a direct attack on your self-esteem. You don't feel like meeting your friends, stepping out of the house, participating in festivals. तो वो सब मैंने socializing बंद किया था. I was locking myself inside the room for weeks and months. And it also has a direct attack on your appetite. भूख ही नहीं लगती है when you are in depression. I was living on only breakfasts, वो भी चाय और बिस्किट. No lunch, no dinner. I used to wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning and just keep staring at the ceiling fan for 3 hours. Because there was no reason to wake up. A failed person, you know, एकदम अंदर से वो सब respect का चितले उड़ गए थे. And so he said, maybe he saw pity on me, wanted to pull me out of depression. He said, अमृत एक पिक्चर है ये बाहुबली, चल देखने जाते हैं, बहुत चल रही. बोला पागल हो गया क्या? वो मैं बीप लगाता हूँ, कुछ गाली दे उसको. तो इधर 3 स्टार्टअप्स फेल हो गए हैं, वो भी मुझे छोड़ के गई है, और तू बोल रहा है कि पिक्चर देखना है, पागल है क्या? I don't want to come, get lost. And he said, अरे अमृत, don't worry, I'll buy the tickets for you. And I said, okay, I'm ready. Once a CA, always a CA. So we reached the movie theater 15 minutes before the show time. Perhaps we overestimated the traffic jams at Peanut Naka, तो हुआ ही नहीं ऐसा कुछ. And I think we went to Forum Mall or some Vijayana Mall. And तो 15 मिनट क्या करने का time pass? We both were not interested in shopping, and because of my Devdas mind, I was not interested in the other attractions of the mall. You know, Haryali. So, wow, what honest. हाँ भाई, आपके जैसा हूँ मैं. बुक रीडर को कोई भावना नहीं होते क्या? And so to kill those 15 minutes, I was reading a book that week, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. सुना है कभी? Yes. Broken all the world records, perhaps converted into 35 world languages, और अभी तक उसका number of copies का record तोड़ा नहीं है, non-fiction journal. So the 7 habits which the author had mentioned were very fresh in my mind. So I just narrated him those, what are the 7 habits, tak, 15 minutes mein. He was so impressed by my narration. He said, Amrut, you know the way you explained these 7 habits? I felt I read the book without touching it. I felt I met the author and I got the main message, the main takeaways of the book from you, through your mouth. So can you help me? मैं ना बुक्स पढ़ता नहीं हूँ, मुझे टाइम नहीं मिलता है. तो मैंने बोला पागल, ये सब बहाने हैं, टाइम नहीं मिलता है अगर. If you have time for Facebook, you have time for a book. And he laughed and said, yeah, I agree, I'm giving excuses, but you know, I have the guilt of not reading regularly. I know reading is important, the power of books, but you know, you can help me. I said, how can I help you? For your reading, you have to read. I said, no, wait. Do you take some notes in your diary after you read a book? I'm sure you must be reading all the bestsellers. Yes, I prefer best-selling books. बाद में वो खत्म होने के बाद कुछ और पढ़ूंगा. So you must be taking some notes, summaries, bullet points, takeaways. Yes, I do. उसका फोटो मुझे WhatsApp पे भेजा करो, so that your reading habit can benefit me. And that last line was the second Akashvani of my life. No, ad है ना, मन में एक एक लड्डू फूटा, फिर दूसरा फूटा, ऐसा कुछ मेरा फीलिंग आया कि वाह, I love reading. I'm passionate, crazy book lover, and while doing that, if that can help my friend, it's a perfect win-win. सोने पे सुहागा. And the movie started. He must have forgot the conversation because it was just a passing comment for him. He was enjoying the movie. But I found this blockbuster movie like Bahubali utter nonsense and boring just because of the altered state of mind now. I was excited about something else, about working on the fourth startup. Startup का कीड़ा नहीं गया था. इतने लग गए थे फिर भी नौकरी नहीं करूँगा was very clear in my mind. और वो क्या, वो बॉडी बिल्डर पहाड़ों पे उड़ रहा है, सफेद साड़ी में, वो हवा में नाच रही है, all nonsense. And I was waiting for the interview to happen. I was worried कि आइडिया आपका जस्ट आइडिया है, थोड़े दिन के बाद खुश हो जाएगा ना, all the excitement, because I read in a book called College to Startup by Venkatesh Iyer. College to Startup. I highly recommend you to read this book. And one of the chapter names was Ideas are useless. ऐसा क्या बोल रहे? They say ideas change the world, and he said no, ideas don't change the world. Execution of ideas change the world. वरना thousands of ideas come to our mind on toilet seat every day. How many of us work on those ideas once we're out of the toilet? That is important. So I thought, I was worried. No, I should work on this idea, execute it within 1 week before the excitement fades away from my heart. So interval हो गया, and मेरे दोस्त की बाइक की चाबी मेरे जेब में थी. I lied to my friend that I want to pee. I escaped from the theater. उसकी बाइक लेके भाग गया. घर पे पूरी रात मैंने इंटरनेट पे चेक किया. Is somebody doing such summaries of great books which are not part of our school and college syllabus, but we know it is so important when we have to face the real world. कोई नहीं कर रहा है. And you know, in this instant gratification world, do you know this term? Do you understand? Instant gratification means थोड़ा बहुत कुछ काम किया, उसका रिजल्ट तुरंत मिला. No, and these apps have intensified this instant gratification syndrome. Now, gone are those days you had to wait. You want to eat at your favorite restaurant. Waiting line होता था, but now just tuck 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 tuck, and Swiggies and Zomatos are at your doorstep, and you get the most delicious food of the town. Want a car ride? Tuck 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 tuck. Olas and Ubers are at your service. Yeah, right swipe, and you're on a date. गए वो दिन जहाँ पे वो उसके चक्कर में फॉलो करो उसको घर तक, वो 10 बार ना बोलेगी, सब उसके नखरे झेलो. नो, डायरेक्ट. कितने राइट स्वाइप किया, कितने मैच हुए? दैट इज if the teachers understand the joke, that's a problem. So I thought there is no instant gratification in reading. I see lot of similarity between reading and exercise. They both take time to give you results, right? You go to the gym, do those 100 crunches every day, come back after 3 months, look into the mirror, वो चर्बी वैसी की वैसी है. No signs of six packs, वो तो भूल ही जाओ. Great things take time to happen. There is nothing called revolution, there is only evolution. You can't have a baby in 1 month by making 9 women pregnant. वो मैथ का लॉजिक इधर नहीं है. 9 मल्टीप्लाई 1 मल्टीप्लाई तुम्हारा एक ही है. So I thought, how can I bring instant gratification in reading? वर्ल्ड टेस्ट मैच से हम T20 पे आ गए. अभी वनडे देखने में कोई मजा नहीं आता है. T20. So how about these 20-minute summaries? So that at least it will evoke curiosity in you, and you might like the summary and end up buying the book to dig deeper. So I was stuck. A chartered accountant, a non-IT guy who doesn't know how to develop an app or a website. आपका कोई full form नहीं है. Full form. Right? IT guys, you know, all mass media. So I was stuck. But remember the words of my elder brother. Whenever you are stuck up with the question, what next? What to do? Again started reading and stumbled upon a wonderful book called Acres of Diamonds by Russell Conwell. And the author said, constraints inspire creativity. Constraint मतलब limited supply. हमारे पास जो चीजें नहीं है, इतना ही है. 50 लाख की है, चाहिए 1 करोड़. We have this हैबिट ऑफ थिंकिंग व्हाट इज नॉट अवेलेबल. अगर वो कंपनी में जॉब मिलेगी ना, फिर देखना मेरा करियर कहाँ से कहाँ जाएगा. अगर वो लड़की मेरी लाइफ में आएगी ना, फिर देखना मैं पुष्पा हो जाऊंगा. I was thinking, what? क्या हुआ, कोई है पुष्पा इधर? पुष्पा? पुष्पा. And the shoulders are straight. So I was also thinking on the similar lines that I look for a software engineer, an IT software engineer, read to him, मेरे पास अभी पैसे नहीं है, please help me. Then I'll come out with an app. After 6 months, I'll launch my startup. No, the author says exactly the opposite. Constraints are beautiful. Constraints inspire creativity. मतलब क्या? अगर जो है उसी में से मुझे काम करना है, and I have to go ahead. You force your brain to think creatively to make it happen. And suddenly you realize acres of diamonds are right there in your backyard, and hence the name acres of diamonds. Have you watched in the lockdown? You all thought कि शुरू में लॉकडाउन 10-15 दिन चलेगा, है ना? एक दिन भारत बंद देखा था, मुझे लगा ये भारत बंद है. I didn't know. It lasted for almost 1 year, and they started going crazy because gyms were closed, swimming pools were closed, and they wanted to exercise. 10 दिन हो गए, 1 महीना हो गया, 2 महीना हो गया, they went mad. And then because they were forced to get locked inside their house, they started using creatively the things which are available at home to exercise. वो पानी के बाल्टी को डंबल जैसा यूज करने लगे, वो दरवाजे पे पुल-अप्स. Have you seen those videos? दरवाजे पे भी जामवाल फेमस हो गया था, दरवाजे पे पुल-अप्स मारा था. So see, they never thought this way creatively because there were no constraints. Gyms were open, but now they did. Constraints are beautiful. So I thought, yeah, he's so right. So what do I already have? I have WhatsApp, and it doesn't need any coding. I don't need to know programming, and everybody uses WhatsApp. And so in those days, Dr. Kalam had passed away. So as a tribute to him, I read his biography once again, Wings of Fire, Bagni Punk. Made a nice 20-minute summary in 2 days. That was not a big deal for me, and shared it with 10 of my close friends on WhatsApp, and asked them to read. If you like it, you share it with your friends on WhatsApp along with their WhatsApp number. To my surprise, I got 1,000 requests from unknown people within 1 week, and they said, "Wow, it's a great idea. हमको भी पढ़ना था कहीं पे पर नहीं मिलता है, तो WhatsApp पे अगर मेरे समरीज आएंगे तो माशाल्लाह." And that boosted my confidence, and I made a formal promise to everybody that every Wednesday I'll give a summary of a preferably best-selling book, and I named it as Mission Make India Read. This time it's not a selfish business. It's just about giving and helping my friends around me to cultivate reading habit. I had understood the difference between books and reading habit. They are not synonymous. It's like having dumbbells at home and lifting those dumbbells are two different things. हम सबके घर पे ऐसे 1.5 किलो 2 किलो डंबल्स रहते हैं, वो रोप जंप्स रहता है, करता कौन है भाई? So I thought I got an inner calling that it is my duty to make you read and not just dump books for free. Yeah. And since then, the numbers started growing. Within 1 month, there were 50,000 people on my WhatsApp. I was thoroughly enjoying the journey. And then I took a small survey. I asked 1,000 people out of those 50,000 on WhatsApp that, did you read my last week's summary? And they said no. 80% of them said no. नहीं वो तेरा थोड़ा लंबा है, WhatsApp पे छोटे-छोटे मैसेजेस रहते हैं, वीकेंड में पढ़ूंगा, no, अभी I was busy with my boss, I was busy with my wife, the casual answers. एक ने बोला I was busy with my friend's wife. Because laughing, I cried that day. Because the whole idea was that because you don't get time to read these fat books, I am here to help you through these 20-minute summaries. आपको वो पढ़ने का भी आलस, cool. ये सारे ऐसे ही हैं. I am for them. I will read out for you. I am coming. I have solutions. I decided to record those summaries in my voice. ठीक है ना, पढ़ना नहीं है, सुनना तो easy है. I know. Even though reading is not a physical activity, it requires certain amount of willpower. The way you need willpower to go to the gym. But listening doesn't require any willpower. सिर्फ फतेह डांस वीडियो देखने के लिए कुछ विल पावर नहीं लगता, राइट? स्टैंड अप कॉमेडी कपिल शर्मा का देखने के लिए नो विल पावर इज रिक्वायर्ड. एंड I decided to record the first summary in my voice. But again, there was one problem. A Marathi guy with his Marathi accent in English. Will people laugh at my reading style? I'm not an RJ jockey or voiceover artist. Will people laugh at my reading style? That was stopping me from recording the first audio summary. And I was stuck. But you know, what do? When I'm stuck, it random. And I stumbled upon a book called How to Be an Imperfectionist by Stephen Geese. What a funny name. Imperfectionist, कैसे बनना है? Everybody, you know, since childhood we are taught by parents, teachers, be perfect, be perfect. करना है तो perfect करो, वरना मत करो. ऐसा बोला जाता है ना? I still remember in 6th grade I had scored 99 marks in science. I was so happy to share this good news with my dad. My father was expected at 6 o'clock in the evening on his scooter. My father is a farmer. I was waiting at the balcony for him to come. He came on his scooter. मी ओरडलो, बाबा मला सायन्स मध्ये 99 मिळाले. Baba stopped his scooter, looked at me and said, एक मार्क कुठे गेला? I mean, I'm not complaining. Good dad. But parenting is also an art. So the author says exactly the opposite. He says, imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Done is better than perfect. I'll give you an example. How many of you watch YouTube videos? How many of you have YouTube channels of your own? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Less than 10%, 7. See, एक वीडियो बनाने के लिए YouTube के लिए कितना खर्चा आता है? 0. बस मोबाइल ऑन करना है और बटबट शुरू करना है. You all have some skill in your. किसी को कुछ फुटबॉल पसंद है, किसी को कैलिस्थेनिक्स, किसी को must be good at Excel sheet, whatever. उसका वीडियो नहीं बना सकते हम YouTube पे, yeah? And but we wait for the perfection. नहीं अभी थोड़ा मैं ओवरवेट हूँ, 6 महीने के बाद थोड़ा वजन कम करूंगी, पिंपल चले जाएंगे, फिर मैं वीडियो बनाऊंगी. एक लड़के से आई थी मेरे पास, वो बोली कि मैं ऐसा करूँ. बोला तो बादशाह ने ये सोचा होता कि मैं मोटा हूँ, पहले पतला होऊंगा, फिर डीजे वाले बाबू बनना रिलीज करूंगा. अब दिमाग में आता क्या? नो, he just focus on the music and whatever he may be out of shape, but music is cool, right? But when we are on this side of the table, we focus on something else, on perfection. अभी author ये नहीं बोल रहा कि खराब काम करो जानबूझ के. He is trying to tell us the difference between perfection and excellence. Perfection मतलब क्या? Flawlessness. जो भी करूँगा एकदम चकाचक, वरना मैं दिखाऊंगा ही नहीं किसी को. Don't you think this comes with ego? Yes. कि मेरी खामियां दिखेंगी लोगों को, मुझे नहीं चाहिए. I should look smart. Huh? People might laugh at me if I give an imperfect work to them. But in excellence, what happens is, even if you think you have achieved 70% of accuracy, share it with your friends. It could be a PowerPoint presentation, a song on guitar. In my case, it was an audio summary. Share it with your friends, with your boss, with your teachers. Put it on Facebook and ask people that, is there any room for improvement? Can you give me some honest feedback? कहाँ पे कुछ कम ज़्यादा है? And then you work on those lacunas. Again, iterate, give it to them, and this is how you achieve excellence. But this is scary. You have to keep your ego aside. So people might laugh at you, criticize at you, yeah, but that is the right way. And so I said, okay, भाड़ में गया मेरा accent. At least I know how to speak in English. I summarized the same book, How to Be an Imperfectionist, and recorded it for the first time in my voice, and I shared it. So on WhatsApp we can share text and audio both. We all know. Nobody laughed at me. Not a single person laughed at me. Most of the fears are just our imagination in our mind. They never materialize. And I asked them, don't you feel like laughing? It was complete. वो दूरदर्शन के जो न्यूज चैनल में कैसे बात करते थे वैसे में बात कर रहा था. Not the way I am talking today because I have learned over a period of 6 years how to speak, how to become a storyteller. वो ऐसा था. Hi guys, I'm Amrut Deshmukh, your booklet guy. Today's book name is. I was fumbling, nervous. And then they said, no, we don't feel like laughing at you. Yes, the audio is far away from perfection. But then we see ourselves in you. You are trying to walk the path which is least traveled. A chartered accountant could have easily gone to Dubai and made billions of dollars, but you quit that, quit the path which is most traveled and doing something out of the box. हमको भी कभी ये करना था, but responsibilities के नाम पे कभी किया नहीं. So we see ourselves in you. So we support you. Yes, you should work on some points. Listen to great orators of the world like Barack Obama and Narendra Modi. Learn from them. कि पिच को ऊपर नीचे कैसे करना है, स्पीड कैसे कम ज़्यादा करना है. Add some music so that you will become more engaging. Volume को कैसे कम ज़्यादा करना है. Yeah, Modi is very good at it. We all know. And I started working on those deficiencies and got better and better by doing things. Doing is learning. I learned this from a wonderful book called Instead of Education by John Hall. I highly recommend you, all of you, to read this book, especially the teachers. Instead of Education by John Hall. And he says that doing and learning are not two different phases. It's not that a girl wants to learn piano. Will she say that I am learning piano, then I'll play piano? ऐसा नहीं होता है ना? Both phases are same. It's interlinked, right? I used to go to sleep in my trigonometry period when I was in 8th grade. तो sin, cos, theta क्या मेरे को लगता था मेरे को dyslexia है क्या? इतना boring लगता था. I really wish my teacher would have taken me out of the classroom to the nearby flyover bridge, which was then under construction, and told me that, look, Amrut, sin, cos, theta principles are used here. If you don't use them, the bridge will collapse. I would have loved to learn trigonometry more by doing things there. But we are taught to sit within the four walls of the classroom for 10-15 years, learn, then apply in the real world. As if classroom is not the real world. ऐसा नहीं है. Things have to change. You can learn only by doing things. And when you do, you are bound to make mistakes. It is impossible to learn without mistakes. But the problem is our reward punishment system in the education sector makes mistakes dangerous. Mistake is dangerous because 35 के नीचे अगर marks आया तो I am failed, I am punished. ऊपर आया तो I am rewarded. And so learning doesn't become enjoyable anymore. Tell me one child in this world who has learned to walk without falling. Hey, sir, did I? No, no? And look at the reaction of the parents when the child of 5-6 months for the first time tries to stand up and walk. But the parent is still away from him or her and says, wow, come. Oh, gir, no problem, get up again, clap. Right? Forget about failure, they don't even look at it as a mistake. But the problem is, as the child starts growing, 2nd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, फिर वो बोलेंगे 2 times 2 5 होता है, दिमाग में घुसा पड़ा है, इतनी अकल नहीं है. And the child starts thinking, no, making a mistake is a dangerous thing. Now just go back to that scenario of child walking and let's change the reaction of the parent. अकल नहीं है तुझे ऐसे चलते हैं? You don't know how to transfer the weight from left to right leg. तो बच्चा कभी उठेगा ही नहीं. Right? See, it's how funny that our approach changes as the child grows. Very sad, right? So I think we should start replacing the word failing with falling. Because the word failed has no different shades of intensity. Every day is a he failed in marriage, he failed in the exams, he failed at the game, he failed in the business. But if I say, I just fell down, what will be the obvious reaction? Sarika, oh, fell down, it's okay, get up, I'm with you, try again. It's so easy, the response will change. Let's start saying this, okay, I'm experimenting on this idea, okay, and I fell down, can you give me some advice? But I failed in a startup. This is something social stigma के साथ आता है. Anyway, and so John Holt, as I mentioned the book, Instead of Education. What an interesting name, instead of education. He's not against education, but how we deliver education to the students. And the audio summary was an instant hit. People started listening to my audio summaries while commuting in train, bus, while jogging, while cooking. People started putting the mobile on speaker mode and listened to me while cooking in the morning. And the numbers shot up to 5 lakh in just 6 months. 5 lakh readers, perhaps listeners on my WhatsApp. Most of them were listening. 80% were listening. And then young boys and girls started approaching me, फोन करने लगे, मेल करने लगे. तू ना रीड रैंडम बोलता है, पर उसमें भी तेरा पैटर्न दिखता है. मतलब क्या दिखता है? कि तू हमेशा नॉन फिक्शन ही ज्यादा कर रहा है. सेल्फ हेल्प, मोटिवेशन, मैनेजमेंट, लीडरशिप, प्रोडक्टिविटी, टाइम मैनेजमेंट, ये सब कर रहा है. विच इज गुड, गलत नहीं है, पर थोड़ा हल्का फुल्का भी करो ना. रोमांस, लव स्टोरी, थ्रिलर्स. Yes, they are right. I'm not reading for myself anymore. I'm reading for India. I have to sacrifice my personal taste. So I started reading Chetan Bhagat, P.S. I Love You. Just imagine me narrating a story like 50 Shades of Grey. Lots of emotion and modulation. नहीं, वो मैंने कभी रिलीज नहीं किया. I did not release it. मुझे बहुत शर्म आई. Have you watched that movie?
Yes.
If not, don't watch.
It makes more sense to read than watching actually.
Yeah, I'll come up to that topic which we discussed in the morning. And then one day, I got a message from WhatsApp, on my WhatsApp, from the WhatsApp team, that you are banned from using WhatsApp. They thought, इतने messages मेरे जा रहे थे मोबाइल से, they thought that I'm doing some cheap marketing or spamming. तो ना नंबर ही बैन कर दिया. I went panic. करे तो क्या करे? Immediately I thought it is high time now I should approach some IT friend. So IT friends, just passed out engineers, IT kids with zero experience, and literally pleaded to them that look, I don't know what I'm going to get in return, monetary terms. I don't know what I can give to you, but something somewhere a change is happening. Where in a college campus where most of the boys and girls say, अरे वो सलमान खान की पिक्चर देखी क्या तुमने last week? भारत flop है. But they also started saying, did you read James Clear's Atomic Habit? It's a newly released book. It's a wonderful. If you want, I can lend it to you. Would you like to borrow? Things are changing. It's not about book summaries. Book summary is just a stupid excuse to keep books relevant in your daily routine. I stand for the higher purpose of reading habit. The whole objective is to cultivate reading habit amongst the youth of India because of my firm belief that if I'm not reading, I'm not changing. And if I'm not changing, I am not growing. And because of this strong belief, I have a burning desire to cultivate reading habit amongst the youth of India like you guys. And hence we should make India read. Look at the power of higher purpose, power of giving, unselfishness. These IT kids, without charging a single rupee, they helped me to come out with a nice mobile app within 1 week, and we named it as Booklet. Why Booklet? A smaller version of book is called Booklet. So summary की जगह हमने Booklet नाम दिया. And today 40 lakh readers are part of this mission. Reading book summaries with me, going and buying the book if they like the summary. और इसलिए प्यार से लोग मुझे Booklet गाय के नाम से जानते हैं. गाय मतलब इंग्लिश वाला गाय. एक रात को I got a call from a young girl, very sweet voice. And she started saying, Amrut, I love your voice, you speak so well. I now listen to all your booklets. I wait for every Wednesday for your next upload so that I can listen to your audio. I love the way you say bye-bye at the end of the summary. I'm like, at this hour at 11 o'clock at night, is this girl flirting with me? So even I decided to pull her leg and said that, why do you always listen? Booklet app में दोनों है ना, text और audio. कभी सुनो, कभी पढ़ो. You know what she said? She said, Amrut, I am blind. I can't read because I can't see. And I got goosebumps all over my body. Abhi aa raha hai. And oh my God, how could I not think that ऐसे लोगों के लिए booklet एक वरदान है? Yeah, I lost my mother 20 years ago when I was quite young, and she had donated her eyes after her death. I think I am luckier than my mom that somebody can read books through my eyes while I'm alive. What else can I expect from life? That's the power of social entrepreneurship. Keeping the public good ahead of your personal gains. And then money is coming to me as a byproduct. That night, I went to bed as the most satisfied person in this world. वो satisfaction मेरे को stock market में घंटा कभी नहीं मिला था. And do you think do I look like a social worker who is always at the mercy of the donor और झोला लेके pajama लेके? Do I look like that? Do I look a malnourished, undernourished guy? It's not that I'm compromising with my standard of living. See, let's understand the difference between a social entrepreneur and a social worker. A social worker is always at the mercy of the donor. Donation nahi to. A social entrepreneur is somewhere between Baba Amte and Dhirubhai Ambani. Two extremists. Who has his own revenue streams to cover the costs, not to maximize profits or his personal wealth. And if at all there are any surplus profits in booklet, instead of buying a BMW for myself, I would see how can I deploy the excess funds so that at least 100 of my employees will have at least one Wagoner at their houses. This is how the income disparity of India will get reduced. See, India is a rich country with poor people. Rich are very rich and poor are getting poorer, right? While only 80% of the India's wealth is in the hand of 20% of the wealthy people, right? तो अगर सिर्फ entrepreneurship पे focus करेंगे हम, which I'm going to talk in detail on Friday when I come back, then the rags to riches story, a poor guy from a remote area of India gets an idea, becomes a $1 billion startup, unicorn, will again belong to that niche group of 10%. And the disparity, the gap will get intensified. So it's not just entrepreneurship or businesses, but social entrepreneurship, where India needs young boys and girls like you and me, with the mind of Steve Jobs, but the heart of Gautam Buddha, where you try to solve problems with some compassion. What am I doing? Do you think book summaries are really something innovative? I don't think so. Ola, yes, very innovative, right? Pressy writing was there since 4th grade in our schools. Am I doing something different? पर उसमें मैंने क्या किया? थोड़ा compassion, थोड़ा unselfishness डाला कि you say that अच्छा कल तू lecture के लिए आए नहीं, your mom was unwell, fine, use my notes. That's what I'm doing. I'm sharing my personal notes with the whole of India for free without expecting anything in return. कुछ नया है क्या इसमें? And suddenly a booklet guy was born, right? So this is how we have to look at problems with a lot of compassion. Okay? That's what social entrepreneurship is all about. Now somebody raised a hand who has a channel, right? किसने हाथ ऊपर किया था? You have a channel. What is it about?
Actually, I have a chain of channels.
Wow.
So this is my main core business which I am running. Presently, I have over 30 channels, and उसमें खुद में I am facing like 3 channels.
What is your passion?
My passion is to cover the whole media.
Media. Okay. So you like videography?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or what's your name?
My name is Atharva.
Atharva. So Atharva's passion is videography, video production, right? Now suppose inshallah you will get expert in this area, and then he comes out with a course, how to do editing, whiteboard animation, stop and motion animation, etc. Atharva is great at it, and because now word of mouth has spread so fast, he is increasing the course fees to 1,000 rupees from 500, and course hit है. And then his friend Amrut comes to Atharva and says कि अरे एक लड़का है, मेरे मेट का बेटा है, he likes you, he follows you on YouTube, but he comes from a very humble background, तो वो 1,000 रुपए का कोर्स तुम उसको फ्री में दे सकते हो प्लीज? And Atharva immediately says, हाँ तुम बोल रहे हो ना, पक्का. Atharva becomes a social entrepreneur. Are you getting my point? Social entrepreneur is not a different breed or category of entrepreneurs. It's just about keeping your conscience alive, and wherever you get an opportunity, you help people who are weaker than you. Weaker financially than you, weaker physically or emotionally, mentally, physically handicapped, कोई भी हो सकता है. Right? Yeah, so this is my stupid story from C. Amrut Deshmukh to booklet guy. That blind girl and I became very good friends later on, and she invited me to a session as a speaker the way I am here at NAP, National Association for the Blind. I gave a talk there, and then after my talk, she came to me in the backstage and gifted me a wonderful book called Who Will Cry When You Die by Robin Sharma. A beautiful name. Name itself is so self-explanatory. कि आपके मयत पे कितने लोग रोएंगे. And I learned the author is trying to help us to find the answer to the most difficult questions of our life. What is the purpose of my life? The why of my life? The reason to wake up in the morning. If you say पैसा पेट के लिए, then what's the difference between me and the stray dog? रास्ते का कुत्ता भी रोज उठ के उसका काम क्या रहता है? करके बस खाना ढूंढना है, अभी सो जाना है, वापस दूसरे दिन स्टार्ट फ्रॉम जीरो. अगर हम ये जवाब देंगे तो हमें और उसमें कोई फर्क नहीं है. And so the author helps us to find the answer. He gives us small exercise. So he says that close your eyes and imagine that it's your funeral. And some people are standing at your funeral. चिता पे आग लग चुकी है, or whichever religion you are following. And those people standing at your funeral, what is that one line or sentence that you want them to talk about you at your funeral? That line will help you to find the purpose of your life, perhaps. So I said, okay, wonderful. I close my eyes. I first close the book, then I close my eyes and imagine कि मैं मर गया हूँ, चिता पे आग लग चुकी है, कुछ लोग खड़े हैं, कुछ ही थे पर थे. Is it okay if they say Amrut was a smart chartered accountant who helped thousands of his clients to convert black money into white? Gee, I don't want to hear this. I immediately stopped my CA practice. Because if I don't want to hear this on my funeral, I should not be doing it for the single day when I'm alive. Because I don't know when I'm going to die. Right? But is it okay if they say, this was the guy because of whom today millions of young Indians have started reading. He made India read. And today, India is known as a nation of readers on the world map. And a big yes came from my heart. And that has become the purpose of my life, the why of my life, the ikigai of my life. You know, Dr. Kalam had spoke about his dream to see India as a developed nation one day. I believe mission Make India Read is one step towards making his dream come true. In fact, I pity the young American. He doesn't have a chance to make his motherland a developed nation. But we are also lucky. So let's hurry up. Thank you so much for listening to me. If you have any questions, I would love to answer your questions. Any kind of question. I'm single. I'm married to books, by the way. I have 4,000 girlfriends at home. 4,000 books. And you don't argue with me. Yeah, any questions, please? No? Teachers? The game. The game. Who can claim that he or she has the maximum number of book names, either written down or in their heads? Anybody? Just the number. Highest number. How many? 3. 6. 5. 6 is Filal highest. Anybody who can claim more than 6? You get a name, na? The number of the books that I named. What? Kitna? 10. Wow. 10 के आगे कोई है? 10 1, 10 2, 10 3. Could you name? What's your name? Kaushal? Could you stand up and speak out the names of the books that you listed? Kaushal, right?
College to Startup.
College to Startup.
Acres of Diamonds.
Wow. 2.
Wings of Fire.
Wings of Fire. 3.
How to be an Infant King.
4.
Yes, I love you.
I love you too. 5.
Atomic Habits.
6.
Who Will Cry When You Die.
7.
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
8.
50 Shades of Grey.
9.
Chetan Bhagat.
10. Wow. Big hand to. Very good. So, booklet guys से क्या surprise आएगा? So I have written a book. I have written my own book. This is the book. This is the book I have written. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Readers. Not written by Stephen Covey, written by me. and I'll just read out the back cover, which will tell you what it's about. This book is for you if you say, I doze off after reading 5 pages. I don't remember what I read. I don't get enough time to read books. हम सब अंबानी का औलाद है ना. I'm a slow reader. I have left many books half read. Which book should I read? If these lines speak your mind, the book is for you. Okay, so congratulations, Kaushal. अभी बुक का टॉपिक क्या हुआ? So after writing my book, I thought, how can I bring unselfishness in my book? So I have not copyrighted my book. I personally believe copywriting and patenting is selfishness. क्यों सब कुछ मुझे award rewards मिलना चाहिए? The ideas in this book should be a gift for the mankind to take it forward. Yeah, and I would request you to get some copies for your college library as well. Yeah. Many young boys and girls from rural India, Thane, Nanded, some interiors of Bihar started contacting me. And Amrut, we love reading, we love your mission, but we can't afford to buy books. And I said, booklet download karo yaar, sab kuch to free hai na. Why are you complaining? And they said, we have read and heard both. Each and every booklet that you have uploaded, we are desperately waiting for the next upload for Wednesday. अभी कुछ नहीं है पढ़ने के लिए हमारे पास. And my heart melted for such passionate but needy readers. But now that I have written my book, I have an answer for them. So what I do is, I have 40 lakh people. I appeal to them that I have cost to cover. AWS cloud server का rent आता है 40 लाख लोग ऐप यूज कर रहे हैं, सैलरी है, IT डेवलपमेंट, मेंटेनेंस. So महीने का 1.5 लाख खर्चा है. So how do I do it? There is no subscription, there are no ads in the app, no donation button in the app. So I appeal to everybody. If at all you can afford to buy, my book is available for 250 rupees. Please buy. And if you can't, I'll give the book for free. If you are a needy but passionate reader. So help me to become the Robin Hood of books. Is what I got such an amazing response. अभी इसमें कुछ मॉडल है क्या? ये फाइनेंशियल मॉडल है. But just what I spoke my heart. And you know what? अब यूजुअली ऐसा कोई करेगा तो पहले क्या सोचेगा? अरे मैं फ्री में दूंगा तो सब लोग फ्री में मांगेंगे. हमारे इंडिया में तो सब फुकटे लोग बैठे हैं. पर ऐसा नहीं हुआ. You know what happened? People from well-to-do family who are not in a hand-to-mouth situation, affluent background, they said, I am giving you money for 10 books, you give me only 1 and use the remaining 9 money for those passionate but needy readers. Kindness is there in everybody. But, there's a big but. We should be the first one to show kindness. And only then kindness boomerangs. Right? So congratulations Kaushal, happy reading. Would like to have your honest feedback on the book. I will come request for the authorities to get you copies and make it part of the bookshelf in the library. Thank you so much. I think you don't have any questions. Last question.
Apart from reading, you are also traveling and you are taking some points from travel and people you met. Recently read a book Money Loves.
Just a minute, Sapna is asking something, please.
Money Loves, he is the author and he
Faster.
is telling that I'm not a good reader, good writer, but I have taken some things from my experience by traveling. So can you share your travel?
Yeah. Listen, Sapna is asking. Anil outside, I have met him personally before he died. Do you learn, I just rephrase your question. Is there any opportunity to learn apart from books? So you always learn from books or other people. And books are written by other people. So basically you learn from other people. Right? That's the biggest source. And so I'm a very good listener.
Basically, these are journalism students and they have to go to society and they have to interact. They have
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, reading and listening is almost same. Only the medium is changing. Reading में आंखें use होती है, listening में कान. But you are receiving something, receiving a new piece of information. The problem is, listening is not easy. Whenever we listen, somebody speaking, we listen to him or her with an intent to reply, not with an intent to understand that person. कि कब वो बकना बंद करेगा और मैं मेरा बोलूँगा. We start back of the mind अपना शुरू रहता है. कहीं ये point पे मैं ये बोल सकता हूँ. I can disagree on this. नहीं. मुली तो ऐसा नहीं है, शुरू हो जाता है, right? So always, make sure that in a conversation you speak only 20% of the total conversation. It's not easy, very very tough. बड़बड़ करने को बहुत, अभी ये कोई पूछ नहीं रहा है, उसके बाद सब लोग इंडिविजुअली पूछने को आएंगे, मेरे को पता है. I can understand. No, it's fear of asking the crowd. I can fully understand. My first talk and my 750th talk, बहुत फर्क है. मैं अभी 10 बार में ऐसा करता था, right? मेरा गला सूख जाता. I can understand. Practice only gives you the confidence. But yes, you actually put it that listening and reading, I give full marks to the same thing. Yeah, traveling means people visit new places. I get to travel the whole world, and I think I'm living my dream life. I'm already retired. Life. The people invite me across the world. Just before COVID, I was in 3 different countries where they had invited me to speak at an international conference. I don't know how the deadly virus did not enter my body. Maybe the power of books. So, yeah. So thank you so much for being with me for almost 1 hour. Happy reading. Bye.
By the MMC, and it is my privilege to deliver the vote of thanks for today's session. On behalf of our college and BMMC department, I extend a gratitude to our guest speaker for sharing his valuable thoughts and experience with us today, for sparing time for his busy schedule for us. Thank you, sir, once again. My gratitude to our principal, Dr. Ganesh Bagure sir, Vice Principal Self-Finance Courses, Dr. Shraddha Bhume ma'am, for encouraging us. A big thanks to the coordinator of BMMC, Dr. Sarika Sagar, and BMMC faculties, Ms. Sita Ramakrishnan ma'am and Ms. Swapna Pimpre ma'am, for supporting us all through in organizing this guest session. My sincere thanks to all the faculties who have taken time out to attend this session. I would also like to thank the students who worked behind the scenes to make this event happen. And the last but not the least, a big thanks to the students of BMMC who are the main reason for organizing this event. Thank you so much.